When people hear stories about Nigerians or Africans building businesses in Europe, there are usually two extreme reactions. The first reaction is fantasy. People imagine that once you enter Europe, money will start flowing automatically. Better roads, better systems, better country. So surely business must be easier too. The second reaction is defeat. People assume the Netherlands is too structured, too strict, too expensive, too difficult, too regulated, too competitive, and therefore only a certain kind of person can succeed. But the truth is somewhere in the middle. Yes, the Netherlands is structured. Yes, the rules matter. Yes, the system can humble you. But yes, people are still building successful businesses here, including Nigerians. Not because the country hands success to them, and not because they are lucky in some magical way, but because they learn how to work with the system, not against it. So in this video, I want to talk honestly about what it actually looks like for Nigerians to grow from zero into real business traction in the Netherlands. Not through made-up motivational noise, but through practical business paths, realistic lessons, and the systems that actually support growth here. And let me say this from the start. The 100K part of this conversation should not be treated like a promise. It is a possibility, a milestone some businesses can reach, but it usually comes after clarity, structure, consistency, and real customer demand, not fantasy. Now, when people think about Nigerian businesses in the Netherlands, they often think first about obvious community businesses: food, fashion, hair, events, imported products, Afro beauty, maybe logistics. And yes, those are real routes. In fact, the number of international supermarkets in the Netherlands has grown in recent years, with customers actively looking for products they cannot easily find in standard supermarkets. That matters because it shows there is real market space for diaspora-linked products and specialized demand. So let's talk about the first kind of business path, the diaspora need business. This is the kind of founder who notices a gap inside the community. Maybe people cannot easily access familiar food. Maybe there is a shortage of quality African fashion or fabrics. Maybe there is a need for event services, beauty services, or products that connect home and diaspora life. This kind of business often starts small. A home kitchen, a catering side hustle, a food stand, an online page selling fabrics, a beauty service run by appointment, a small import business serving people who are tired of managing with substitutes. And this is where many Nigerians get something very right. They are not always waiting for some giant perfect startup idea. Sometimes they are simply paying attention. What are people struggling to find? What are they willing to pay for? What is missing? What is inconvenient? What is badly served? That is one of the oldest laws of business. Pain creates demand. And the Dutch market has room for niche demand. Not every successful business in the Netherlands is trying to become the next giant tech unicorn. Some businesses grow by serving a clearly defined group very well. Now, the second path is different. This is the skill-based business. This is the Nigerian who has a marketable professional skill and turns that skill into a business instead of only a job. Maybe coding, maybe software development, maybe design, maybe digital marketing, maybe bookkeeping, maybe consulting, maybe project delivery, maybe training, maybe media production. This path matters because many people think entrepreneurship in the Netherlands must always look like physical retail, restaurants, or products. Not true. Dutch startup support routes clearly include innovative and scalable businesses too. Business.gov says there are startup organizations, regional platforms, incubators, and funding routes, while seed business angel funds and the seed capital scheme exist for certain tech and creative startups. That means if someone has a real skill, a sharp offer, and a way to sell into Dutch or international markets, there is room to build serious revenue. And here's something important many immigrants miss. You do not have to build only for Nigerians. You can start with the Nigerian or African community, yes. But the strongest businesses often learn how to serve beyond their first circle. That is how many businesses move from survival money to real business money. The third path is what I would call the bridge business. This is where someone uses their position between worlds as an advantage. They understand Nigeria and they understand the Netherlands. They understand diaspora taste and Dutch systems. They understand local compliance and foreign supply. They understand what people abroad want and what can be delivered from home. That can create opportunities in import-export, sourcing, logistics, talent, remote services, cultural products, events, and community commerce. And this is why I do not like the lazy narrative that says immigrants only struggle. Yes, there is struggle, but there is also edge. Sometimes your background is not only a burden. Sometimes it is the exact bridge the market needs. Now let's get practical. What actually makes some Nigerians thrive in Dutch businesses while others stay stuck? The first lesson is this: they find a real market gap, not just something they personally like, not just something that sounds cool, a real gap. This is why Dutch startup guidance starts with business planning, market research, and financial planning before registration. Business.gov is very explicit about that, because registration does not create demand. A logo does not create demand. An Instagram page does not create demand. Demand comes from solving something people actually care about. The second lesson is this: they build legally and structurally. Many people want business results without business discipline. But in the Netherlands, structure matters. KVK says that if you start a business, you usually register in the business register, and that registration connects into the tax system. For many founders, that means VAT and tax responsibilities start becoming real very quickly. So the Nigerians who last are usually not just posting products online. They are learning the structure. They are asking, what legal form fits me? Do I need a sole proprietorship or something else? What taxes apply? Do I need permits? What records must I keep? That may sound boring, but boring is sometimes the difference between a business and a hustle that collapses under pressure. The third lesson is this: they start smaller than they dream, but smarter than they look. This is big. A lot of people think successful founders started big. Many did not. They started by testing, by selling to a few customers, by proving demand, by using word of mouth, by refining their offer before scaling their costs. That matters in the Netherlands because the market can be expensive. Rent is expensive. Labor can be expensive. Mistakes can be expensive. So testing before expanding is wisdom, not weakness. The fourth lesson is this: they learn the Dutch system instead of complaining about it all day. You may not like every part of the system, fine, but successful entrepreneurs still learn it. Business.gov says there are financing routes for startups, including government programs, private investors, regional platforms, and support through organizations like RVO. There are also loan routes for SMEs and funding finder tools like the KVK Startup Box, which matches innovative startups with suitable government schemes and subsidies. Note that seed funding schemes are generally targeted at tech and creative innovative startups. Community and diaspora businesses typically access different financing routes such as microfinance, bank loans, or community investment. So yes, the system has rules, but it also has tools. And the people who grow are often the people who stop saying, "This country is too difficult," and start asking, "How does this system work and how do I use it properly?" The fifth lesson is network. Nobody scales alone. And I do not mean only know people. I mean build trust, build referrals, build partnerships, build customer loyalty, build relationships inside and outside your own community. That last part matters a lot. Some Nigerians stay trapped because their business visibility never grows beyond Nigerians. And some Nigerians thrive because they learn how to serve Nigerians well while also becoming visible to Dutch, international, or wider diaspora customers. That shift is powerful. Now let's talk to the person watching this and thinking, okay, so what should I actually do if I want to start? Here is the real answer. First, identify a problem worth solving, not a fantasy, a problem. Second, test the idea with real people before over-investing. Third, register properly when you are ready to formalize. KVK and Business.gov both make clear that legal structure and registration are part of doing this seriously. Fourth, understand the tax and record-keeping side early. Fifth, learn what support exists. Startup platforms, funding routes, incubators, community networks, even low-cost advice. Sixth, stay consistent long enough to learn the market instead of quitting after one difficult phase. And seventh, stop glamorizing income without respecting process, because that is another trap. A lot of people want the six-figure outcome. Fewer people want the months or years of testing, rejection, refining, invoicing, fixing, learning, and staying disciplined. The 100K conversation is attractive, but the real question is, what kind of business are you building that can realistically grow there? And that answer will usually involve a market gap, a clear offer, proper structure, customer trust, smart scaling, and patience. So yes, Nigerians are thriving in Dutch businesses. Not all, not automatically, not equally, but yes, it is happening. And the lesson is not, move to the Netherlands and money will come. The lesson is, if you understand the market, respect the system, build something useful, and stay consistent, real growth is possible. That is the truth. So if you are thinking about building a business in the Netherlands, do not ask only, can it work? ask, what problem am I solving? What system do I need to learn? What kind of business am I actually building? And am I ready to treat it like a real business? That is where the shift begins. Drop in the comments, what kind of business are you thinking about building in the Netherlands? And if this video helped you, subscribe, and share it with someone else who needs to hear that thriving in business abroad is possible, but only when you build with structure. Follow mynigeria.nl for practical relocation tips that make life in the Netherlands easier.